everyone. Sorry to keep you waiting. I have never been so late, but today we have a lot of information, so I was a little overwhelmed. But I'm glad that we are having this discussion. Let me turn this off. Okay, sorry. Let me turn this off. So today we'll cover four topics. I mean, we're going to talk about the submarine, the PLA submarine that had an incident in the Yellow Sea. And I'll give you a lot of background information that the two British media didn't talk about. So first, I'll give a quick update on what the British media said, and then I'll give you details missing from their reports, and then I'll also talk about how I mean the missing details came from one Chinese source, and then I'll talk about how people have challenged that Chinese source. And then, last but not least, we'll talk about what we can learn from this incident. So, very quickly, just to give you an overview of the two reports from UK. I think you have already heard about it. I have people send me email today telling me about the Daily Mail report. This was on October 3rd, right? So this report confirmed what we have heard about the Type 93 nuclear-powered submarine having an accident since October. I mean, the rumors and speculations we've heard about, well, we've been hearing about them since October 22nd. And there have been various versions. Some say 100 sailors died from an ammunition-triggered explosion under the sea, and others say it's a deadly technical malfunction with a death toll of 55. So there have been different versions. So this report was based on a British intelligence report and confirmed that the deadly incident did take place in the Yellow Sea on August 21st. But not everyone was convinced about the credibility of the report. They say that, well, Daily Mail is a middle market tabloid paper. But then on the next day, on October 4th, UK's paper of record, shall we say, paper of record, The Times, reported the same story. And The Times confirmed the catastrophic failure of the Chinese nuclear sub while on mission in the Yellow Sea. So, according to the report, the sub hit a chain, an obstacle or an anchor obstacle used by the Chinese Navy to trap U.S. and Allied submarines, and 55 sailors died following a catastrophic failure of the submarine's oxygen system or ventilation system, which poisoned the crew, including 22 officers, 7 officer cadets, 9 petty officers, 17 sailors, and the captain, Colonel Xu Yongpeng, is also one of the 55 casualties. So I compare the British reports to the various different claims of the incident on the Chinese internet, of course, outside China. I find that the British reports are very close to the report by one social media personality, Lu De or Lu De Media. And do I have a picture of him? Oh, here's the submarine. That's the Yellow Sea where it took place. And so you have a picture of Lu De. He was the first person who broke the news. I think it was a few hours after it happened. So he was the first one who broke the news. And he disclosed a tremendous amount of details. I mean, the information he disclosed is very similar to what the British reports said, but Lu De disclosed way more details. So that's what I think it's important for me to share with you, the details that he disclosed. Now, with that said, I also want to mention that there are other people who disagree with Lu De's information. And one person is Yao Chen, the former Navy officer with the PLA. And the two have been engaged in an online strife, a bitter online strife. So I want to present you both views so that you get a comprehensive view of the matter. So let me first tell you the complete details of what Luda said about the incident. Um, Let me just make this smaller. So, okay, so here's just a, he covered the incident in a number of uh, live streams and YouTube videos. So I kind of just summarized, condensed everything for him. So basically, at 8:12 a.m. on August 21st, while on mission, the PLA nuclear submarine number 417 was trapped by CCP's own anti-submarine weapon called the anchor chain hook, which was set up targeting foreign submarines. The submarine's shaftless pump propeller um, sheet or blade was hooked by the anchor chain and suffered a mechanical failure. Now, by the way, the Chinese Navy has increased the development and deployment of anti-submarine devices in recent years, of which what is called the standard anchor chain hook is an important one. And so a large number of them have been deployed in the South China Seas and other areas. Okay. Now, the training mission was part of a training exercise that involves collaboration with the carrier. And on August 15th, the ship had 5 people on board with different degrees of diarrhea. And the next day, August 16th, it increased to 20 people. And on August 18th, that's 3 days before the incident, the sailors who had health issues got off the sub for treatment. So in hindsight, these sailors are very, very lucky. Um, Anyways, so if they didn't have this diarrhea, if they didn't get off, the casualty would be much higher, right? So according to Lu De, the PLA's 093 type submarine uses a shaftless propeller system. So here's his explanation in Chinese, and I'll just explain to you what it's pretty much says. It says the shaftless propeller system typically consists of 2 concentric circular pumps. The inner circular pump creates a water flow by rotating, while the outer circular pump counter-rotates to provide propulsion. This system offers efficient, quiet, and flexible thrust. However, this shaftless propeller has a drawback. It tends to ingest foreign objects or absorb. It tends to absorb foreign objects, especially in areas where the seabed is littered with debris and other objects, sediment. If foreign objects enter the shaftless propeller, it can clog or damage it, causing the submarine to lose the ability to submerge and surface. So currently, the PLA can only minimize the intake of foreign objects by installing filters and also through periodic cleaning of the entire system. So after the submarine got tangled up with the anchor chain hook, he has said that this is just screenshots from his live stream. I mean, yeah, these are all just screenshots. So basically, after it got tangled up, a diver was sent to cut the chains, and the diver carried 2 tanks of gas with him, natural gas and oxygen. In his later program, he said 3 tanks, 3 gas tanks, natural gas, oxygen, and hydrogen. So in the earlier ones, I think he said 2 gas tanks. So it's between 2 and 3. Okay. Now the diver got out of the submarine to cut the iron chain that's entangling the propeller blade. Inside the submarine, there were 3 gas tanks, respectively: oxygen, hydrogen, and natural gas. There was no difference in the valves of the 3 tanks. The diver, after taking the gas or the gases, might have got the valves mixed up and wrongfully connected hydrogen or natural gas to the oxygen tank. The toxic mixture of the gases got into the circulation system and killed the sailors. What's important to mention here is that the vessel's air purification system should have detected the toxic gas and sent out an alarm, but it didn't. After the diver outside the sub completed his task of cutting the chains, he tried to return to the sub by tapping on the airlock hatch. He's trying to send signals to go in, but there was no response from the inside. The diver finally decided to violate the rules by surfacing to above the water. He therefore became the only survivor from the sub. He was rescued by one of the 2 nearby frigates, and it was then that they realized that the submarine 417 was in trouble. The submarine did not explode. The toxic gas caused the death of all crew members. As the submarine was located 20 meters below in shallow water, and at the time there was a heavy rainfall, so the rescue efforts were hindered. I think they were waiting for the rain to stop. They eventually transported a high-powered inflatable pump from Lianyungang Airport to pressurize the submarine and tow it back to shore 6 hours later. And so when they opened the submarine, of course, they found that people had died. So the cause of death is suspected human mistake by the diver and the failed air purification system. And so Lu De said the air purification system came from, it's called Number 718 Research Institute, affiliated with Number 718 is just a random number assigned to that research institute. It doesn't mean that the organization has 718 research institutes. It's just 718 Research Institute affiliated with China Shipbuilding Industry Corporation, CSIC, which is one of the 2 largest shipbuilding companies in China. So this research institute, number 718, is also called Handan Purification Equipment Research Institute. The incident may be related to the lack of fluorescent detectors in the air purification system. It's said that the device, the fluorescent detector, is the device that monitors toxic gases. So according to Lu De, the absence of fluorescent detectors in air purification equipment that came from this research institute. I don't know if it was designed by this research institute or made by this research institute, because I was trying to find that out, but it wasn't specified. Just that it came from this research institute, was the identified cause. And the divers mixing up the valves of gas tanks is inferred. So that's just what people have guessed, what he has guessed. But the missing the missing fluorescent detectors in the air purification system is confirmed. That's the real, at least one of the reasons that was confirmed. So although the submarine was saved, the human loss in the accident is severe, and this is confirmed by the 2 British reports. 3 of the 22 officers who died held dual captain titles, meaning that they were captains of both submarine and frigate. So they have dual captain ship title. The 7 deceased cadets were the captains in training for the PLA's new nuclear submarines. Two ocean scientists who were China's top scientists in this area. They had studied in the United States and had brought back important advanced technologies from the United States. I think brought back, stowed, well, depending on how you look at it. But those 2 scientists were also on board and died. So the above is a summary of Lude's disclosure that was released throughout a period of time, without me getting into too much details. Right. So I'm not an expert on submarines, and I cannot verify the details of the above information, but they are very much in sync with the 2 British reports. But personally, I find it shocking that so much details were leaked in Lude's disclosure, because I read somewhere, because the 2 British reports both mentioned that the information that was leaked from British intelligence was highly classified, and they don't want to release too much information, or the source of the information could be identified. So that makes sense, right? But then this Chinese source seems to have so much details, and what I'm giving you is just, I think 70% of it. There's just a lot more details that I kind of just um, left out, because it would be a long program if I include everything. So he does have a lot of details. That seems a little unusual. Now let me talk about the people who question or disagrees with Luda's information. I think, although I had that question, I think it's hard to discredit his information, because it's been confirmed by the two British reports, right? So I think his report cannot be discredited, because it has weight, because it matches with the 2 British reports. So now let me talk about the person who disagrees with him. So that's Yao Chen, who I have featured in my program, in my programs, and he is a former PLA naval officer, now living in the United States. So he raised a few points. So here are his posts. He said it's hard to believe that if the submarine was tangled by chains for 6 hours, um, and people die from the lack of oxygen, and the water, and then the vessel was only 20 meters underwater. It's shallow. He found it surprising that why the sailors didn't try to escape. So that's he find it hard to believe that none of them try to escape. So was it really, so he was questioning the cause of death, right? And he said, he also did not believe that the submarine was tangled up by with anchor chains, or the whatever you call that, the anchor chain hook. He said in such shallow water, the sub couldn't be moving very fast, and then the sub is equipped with these, I don't know what you call that, maybe GPS, GPS for submarines, that detect the terrains, very closely, and And also, these devices were implanted by the PLA themselves. So the fact that they were implanted by the PLA themselves, the fact that the vessel was moving very slowly, and also that it has equipment that should detect these devices, made it hard for him to believe that it actually got tangled up with its own device. And then the third reason is, and then the second reason is, people should be able to get out if oxygen was the problem. He said that the crew, there should be two ways for them to escape from troubled submarine. One is through the escape vessel. I don't know how to translate that. There's like a small vessel that's designed for escape, and it can accommodate about 20 people. And another way is through the torpedo tube. He said the crew can put on a good diving suit, and then go into the torpedo tube, open the other end of the launch tube to get out, as long as the surfacing speed is not very fast, as long as because the vessel is in only 20 meters. So that's what he said. He found it surprising that none of them got out. So, and also the third reason that he discredit this report is, in the beginning, I think they claimed that there was an explosion. There was this the people who disclosed the information said that there was an explosion, and Colonel Yelchin said that that's impossible because an explosion in a nuclear submarine is a serious matter, and and the the CCP would have to send a large number of aircraft and to rescue or to the site to do something about it. And the U.S. military, and if the U.S. military discover it, they would undoubtedly take the matter very seriously. And the fact that none of them said anything, not United States, not Taiwan, not Japan, told him that there was no explosion. So, of course, Luda didn't. I mean, in the beginning, I mean, later he he changed. He didn't say there was an explosion. So, and and by the way, the two the two got into a kind of a very interesting online strife, shall we say? And how do I put this? Lude have been accusing Colonel Yao to be a CCP spy, and Colonel Yao is saying that Lude's information is questionable. So that has been going on. Now, I did a little bit research on my end, and I found that Lude's claim that the 093 type submarine was prone to absorbing foreign objects isn't exactly valid, because the 093 type nuclear sub didn't use the shaftless propeller technology as he described. Instead, it used a single shaft propeller system, and I have pictures. I'm here all. So let me make this bigger. Maybe you can. So here's a screenshot from Wikipedia in Chinese, and you can see the 093 type nuclear powered submarine I highlighted. It has a single shaft propeller or propelling system, propulsion system. I don't, yeah. And I have to make this smaller so you can see. And this, the 095 type nuclear submarine, the next generation, I mean, we didn't talk about 094, the 095 type nuclear submarine used was the first Chinese submarine, according to CCP's own media reports, used the shaftless, what do you call that? The shaftless pump propulsion technology. So this is, again, according to that. And there are media reports like promoting the shaftless technology. in Chinese media. So it was developed by a Chinese scientist by the name of Ma Weiming, and it was first used in the 095 type nuclear submarine. And this was widely reported by Chinese media in 2017. So you see, this is a news report. It says that it will be used, the technology was designed by Ma Weiming, and it will be used in the next generation of Chinese nuclear submarine. And here's a picture of, I think this is the guy, and with the picture, claiming it's China is leading the United States in the technology. I don't know if it's true or not. It could be just, it's an overstatement. So it's, I found this is inaccurate information. So obviously, 093 type submarine didn't have the shaftless propelling system, and which didn't have this problem that's claimed, that's unique to this design, that's prone to absorb foreign objects. So that's something that's not accurate on Lu De's part. Although I'm not a submarine expert, I just did a little bit research and find this inconsistency in his claim. Now, let me give you another piece of information that I think is important. Yeah. Oh, so here's this information is also helpful because we also took a look at when the submarine 417 was made. Maybe it was made after the shaftless technology was available. So we took a look at the years they were made. So this is public information. It has all the vessels identified, like from 410 to 419. They're all 093A type submarines. So you have the 714 highlighted. The years that went into service, like you see, the 410 went into service in 2014. And then the 418 vessel after the 417 went into service in 2017. The 3 in the middle, 415, 416, 417, the years that went into service were unknown. But if you look at the before and after, so it would be somewhere in between 2014 and 2017, right? So it was before. So we don't think the submarine that we're talking about here used the shaftless technology as claimed. So that's just another thing we found. Okay, so now remember there was a military expert by the name of H.I. Sutton, who was one of the first social media person who disclosed this accident in English on Twitter, and he later claimed that he did not have sufficient information and removed that post. And here's his report or his post on August 31st. And this is his kind of a synopsis of what was said in the Chinese social media landscape. And he mentioned this one report here. It's by China Front. He mentioned that. However, the person who posted this, the link that Sutton, it's quite complicated. So the active link that was in this post by H.I. Sutton. Oh, I'm name challenged. Okay. The link was inactive because the post was not available, but someone archived this post, so we were able to find it. So this was the original post that Sutton mentioned, but is now removed. And this post is very long and very detailed. It basically validated Lu De's disclosures. So it validated, it says that it's true, but it's removed. What I found interesting is, remember when I did my last program on September, I don't know, 12th, last month, about, I gave you an update on the submarine incident. I mentioned how autopsies found people were poisoned, people died from hydrogen sulfide poisoning. Remember that post? Yeah. And this person did a very long explanation. He did, or he or she did a lot of research into hydrogen sulfide poisoning. And this is what he said. He said, first of all, hydrogen sulfide poisoning is, there's no Chinese information that connects hydrogen sulfide poisoning to submarines at all on on Chinese internet. However, when he's searching in English, there's a 2009 book called Guidance for Emergency and Continued Exposure to Selected Seabed Contaminants, Volume 3, this book, published by the National Academy of Sciences Press, has 2 chapters on submarine hydrogen sulfide poisoning and treatment methods. So here's his picture. There's a picture of the chapter of that book. So obviously they are related. And he said there's information about hydrogen sulfide poisoning on fishing boats on the Chinese internet. Right? There's no information about the poisoning related to submarine, but there's information related to fishing boats. And it says that hydrogen sulfide gas on fishing boat is generally caused by the decomposed fish in the fish tank. And the smelly, basically the sewage water in the fish tank that have not been cleaned for a long time can cause this type of poisoning. And there have been 2 cases. He gave 2 cases where fishermen got ill from this type of suffering. I mean, from this type of poisoning. So I just want to give you a little bit information on that because I think this is very important information. So what does this incident reveal, right? I think it reveals 3 things. Let me come back. I think it reveals 3 things in terms of understanding the significance of this event. First, I think the biggest impact on Xi Jinping is, I think it's the impact is more than the accident itself. You know, the loss of the talents, the loss of the officers, and then the talents. But the fact that such high level confidential, classified information was leaked so quickly is certainly worrisome to him. It means that the individuals within the top leadership is leaking information to people outside China, like Lu De. And Xi Jinping recently has been talking about two-faced people, remember? And I think this is part of the problem. And I think there are a lot of people like that in the system, including the people at the very top. Now, with the blockade of sensitive technologies by the United States and the West, the Chinese military is forced to use domestic technology and products. So the second problem revealed in this incident is that using domestic technology and products has caused many quality issues, and this is one example. And so the PLA is suffering from 2 made in China problems. One is the product, one is the quality made in China, the inferior quality related to made in China products. And the second is the lack of proper procedure, maintenance routine. This is a very common problem in China under the CCP's rules. The Chinese is known not following strict procedure and not following strict maintenance routines um, when operating highly sophisticated machineries, and it's prone to having problems. And this is not just happening to the PLAs. The Chinese culture, the culture in today's China is like that. People could be buying very expensive clothes, designer clothes, but how often do they dry clean them? Is a question. So it's very common. So this is definitely going to be a problem, that we're going to see. I mean, similar incidents will be more and more common because of these two problems. One is the lack of respect for following procedures and rules and maintenance schedules, and the other is the inferior quality in products. Um, and then the third problem is the mental stress as the result of low morale, the lack of trust and camaraderie within the Chinese PLA. And these ongoing issues are causing more and more human errors than necessary, right? And Xi Jinping's demand for total preparedness for war has increased the intensity of training. And the PLAs have been or had been taking it easy for decades. I mean, they weren't prepared for war. And all of a sudden, their fearless leader want them to be totally prepared for war. I mean, that could be stressful. Um, and so I've seen Lu De has shown one of the posts in his live stream showing that people are saying that sailors returning from these submarine missions lost weight, looked skinny and pale and unhealthy. And they said it wasn't due to malnutrition because the food on board was excellent. Their food, their daily allowance on food was better even than the Air Force. So food wasn't a problem, but it was the mental stress, the very stressful, unfriendly environment that made people so um, I think that could be toxic too, right? The mental toxic environment. So these are the three, I think the three takeaways. One is, the two-faced people at the very top of CCP leadership. The second is a quality issue in domestically made products. And the third is this mental stress, human errors, increased amount of human errors as a result of mental stress or as a result of low morale or the lack of trust or whatever you name that. So these are the issues that have been highlighted in this incident. Now, last but not least, I want to talk about how we should be looking at um, social media personalities like Lu De and Colonel Yao, because these people are very active on social media and they have been actively disclosing information about what's happening in China. So I have been people telling me, oh, so and so is a spy and you shouldn't be quoting him. And other people say so and so is not trustworthy because he's affiliated with so and so. The way I look at it is um, even if someone is a spy, well, first of all, I want to acknowledge, yes, the CCP has infiltrated the pro-democracy movement based outside China. They have infiltrated the community of people who are outspoken against the CCP. Without a doubt, there are those who actually work for the CCP, but who appear to be very outspoken and against the CCP. There are people like that. That's certain. However, that doesn't mean that um, the information they disclose are not trustworthy or not truthful. Because if they always spread false information, people will quickly tell, right? They will lose their credibility. So people like that um, will disclose, credible information a lot. So and so so I look at the information and not the person who disclosed it. So far, everyone has given credible information, and everyone has also given not so correct information. You can't really say who is more trustworthy than the other. I don't want to hold any prejudice against anyone because my job is not passing judgment on individuals. My job is passing judgment and analysis on information. And also even quote CCP media a lot because they are revealing. So I'm not saying um, between these two gentlemen, I'm not saying who's a spy, who's not, who's, I don't, that's not my issue and that's not my concern. My job is to analyze this information and give my viewers a very clear picture of what's really happening. All right. So, with that said, that's a lot of information. My job, I'm not a military expert. I'm not a submarine expert for sure, but I'm very sensitive to this information, and I'm very sensitive to the dynamic of how information is shared and debated and argued. And when you've monitored that long enough, you do get a sense of what's happening. And so that's I think where my analysis can be helpful. Okay, all right, that's a lot. Let me see if people have questions for me. Okay, let me go through the super chats first. Uh, if you have questions for me, put my name in front so I know it's addressed to me. From Jeff Ramos, thank you for the star and for the donation. Here's from, let me see, and Sumilan, for thank you for keeping people organized. Thank you. I see that. All right. Okay, I am scrolling very as fast as I can, so I can have time to answer questions. I didn't realize I'm wearing a sailor inspired top. This is pure incidence. Okay, I didn't plan that, but I just realized when I turn on the camera, I realized I'm wearing a sailor inspired top for this. How perfect. Okay. Okay, that seems to be the end of the super chats or the super questions. I will just pick some random questions to answer. All right, let me see. From Cressel Bylan, Lay, nice shirt. Yes. Thank you. Thank you for noticing that. Oh. Uh, from Texas Panda, great presentation. Thank you. Well, thank you. Thank you, Panda. NTN, Lei, do you think the past defeat of the Beiyang fleet puts doubts in the minds of the PLA Navy? Besides, PLA has very little experience in submarines and naval warfare. I think what you described is the general fear of war sentiment in the Chinese servicemen, right? I mean, we all know Chinese military is very corrupt. So, and they haven't really gone to war. And definitely right, the last time they fought in a naval battle was what, more than 100 years ago. So the concern or the issue that you brought up is certainly valid. Yeah. And now with this incident, I think it will be even more fear, right? Wayne's World of Science and Technology. Could you please post the Chinese text somewhere? I need to read it myself. I will post some links. I will post the links after this live. There were just so many. I barely had the time to get myself organized. So I will organize all the sources and links and post that in the description like 10 minutes after this live stream. Okay, give me some time to organize that, but I will do that. Let me see. Didi, Lei, you should do investigation into Singapore money laundering case. 2.8 billion out of China, hundreds of properties, luxury cars, crypto, cash, all seems to be one family from China. You mean the CCP family? All right, if I have time, I will look into that. Alexandro Sudiro, highlight, is there a tradition in China where soldiers perished in duty are given last salute in a ceremony by a high-ranking official, like the president or the Joint Army Chief? Hmm. It will take a while. Um, I think the last time when they had a submarine accident, it was where dozens of sailors died. They did recognize them later, but it took a long time. But whether it was a ceremony like the one that we've seen in the West, I don't know. I've not I've not followed how the ceremony was held or how it was. They probably would recognize that in media. The CCP is not known for holding that kind of ceremony. Um, so I doubt it, but there will be some kind of recognition in print media or in media. Brian Smith, you do a great job. Well, thank you, Brian. Okay, let me see. Click all night. Do you know the name of the ship? Was it only for training or did it have a military mission? It doesn't have a name. It's numbered 417. That's the what do you call it? The hull number of the vessel, the submarine vessel. It's number 417. It's a Type 03 nuclear powered submarine. It's a attack type of submarine. It was for training. Of course, right now it's for training. It's for training uh, for a training mission with in coordination with the carrier. All right, uh, Godot. We love Lay. Well, thank you for the hearts. All right, let's see. Um, I really think those sailors who got out of the vessel because they got diarrhea was so lucky, or were so lucky. So I mean, that just sometimes a bad thing could be a good thing. At the time, I'm sure they said, why did I get so sick, right? But then it saved their life. So yeah, so a bad thing sometimes may not be so bad. Boy, Kachina, love to sailor late. Thank you, thank you. All right, I'll wear this shirt next time I do a ocean inspired program. This is my ocean inspired program shirt. Okay, Stephen Gilly. Being in a submarine can be claustrophobic. Would the submarine sailors have to pass psychological screening before being stationed on a sub? I don't know. Um, I think the CCP in general do not respect people's psychological need. If there's anything that they don't care is people's emotional, psychological, and mental need. It just asks you to be tough, right? And just ask you to follow them, to believe in them. So I don't think the CCP takes care of people's mental health, and that's why there's so much mental health issues in China. So I doubt it. St. Louis, St. Louis opposed. Okay, that's a long name for me to pronounce. Will the CCP ban mainland Chinese people from leaving the mainland in order to maintain and keep control over mainland Chinese people? I think it has been doing that during the pandemic, right? For some people, the border control has even the airport people, yeah, the border control at the airport have the authority to cut up your passport. Like if you try to leave China, and they can tell you that you cannot leave China, they could cut up your passport. Jerry Watson, what do you think of the new rumor of assassination attempt on Xi by the Rocket Force and other PLA leaders? Supposedly that's why he changed his travel plans from South Africa. He I made a program talking about that. He's very concerned about the about any type of assassination attempt because of the prophecies. Because the prophecies, I did a number of programs on that. The prophecies predicted a coup d'état, and someone with a bow, is entering the palace through the back door. Remember the poem from the Tang Dynasty prophecy book? And people say that the soldier with the bow is the rocket force. So he's paranoid by this. This is causing, I think, some mental distress on the Chinese leader because of the prophecy, and he believes that. He certainly believes that. So these prophecies have an impact on him. Mer, Mer, how do I Meraxis X. Great analysis, Late. Thank you. Thank you. Thomas Waldron, your people have been making Sailor Moon references because of your wardrobe tonight. We salute you, Admiral Lay. We can't plan develop more professional cadre. We can't. Why can't plan develop more professional cadre? What does that mean? Why can't plan? What's plan? My wardrobe. Oh my goodness. I have to I'll try to align my wardrobe to my topic. That's hard. This one is easy, but other what should I wear for Chinese economy? Banking crisis. Something green? All right. What a thought. Okay, Sean Rice. I came in too late. Center for Strategic Intelligence Studies has been talking about China all day on YouTube. You may find it interesting. Also, let us design merchandise for you. Merchandise for me? Do you guys think I should sell something? I have not thought about that. Sinan, thank you, Sinan, for the donation. Mitsu, Lei, with garbage Navy equipment like this, it's no wonder the CCP pours such money into cyber attacks. Good point. Sean Rice, we should design merchandise for you. Also, CSIS has been talking about China on YouTube all day. You may find it interesting. Well, thank you. Dave M., I can't help but wonder if the plan has the same stringent standards. Oh, People's Liberation Army Navy. I got it. Plan. Has the same stringent standard for submarines as the US, including psychological testing. Thanks for the talk tonight. I agree. I don't think they have as stringent, standards. They don't have a very high standards or as high standards for hardware test, maintenance, and I don't think they have a stringent standard for psychological evaluation. Etsy, Lei would look good in camouflage fatigues. What's that? I mean, what's camouflage? Oh, you mean the military out uniform? Really? Okay. All right. I don't have one. All right. Let me see. I'll pick some questions from people I haven't answered. From Casmira Flanagan. No SOS and no escape means the crew was unaware of difficulty. Does Chinese gas have a smell? I found that question to be funny. I don't know. I don't know if hydrogen has any smell or natural gas have any smell. That could be why. That could be why they weren't aware that something went wrong, so they just died. But then they should have felt unwell. They should have felt unwell, right? I mean, they must be suffering some kind of health condition before they died, before they passed out. And so why didn't anyone think of escaping? But they probably can't. It would be a political disaster if they escaped. because human life, you can't escape a vessel unless you were instructed to. So I think the commander on the vessel couldn't give that order because it's not something the CCP does. Saving human lives is not as important as being politically correct. So they just all sat there and suffered and died because they can't tell. I think the alarm system didn't go off is a serious matter. So everything, if you look at it, everything that can go wrong went wrong, right? It's a perfect storm. All right. That's about it. Oh, Michael Penafiel. Hi, Lei. Have you made a video about China and the Philippines in the South China Sea? I know there are a lot of things going on between the two countries. Not yet. Not yet, but something I'll keep in mind. Mitsu, Americans add smell to natural gas as a warning. Yeah, natural gas does smell. I don't know. I think in China they do that too. So if it's natural gas, they should have smelled something. But then they probably, like I said, they don't know. They didn't know how to react. Well, what is this? Should we do something? And then, well, the alarm didn't go off, and I don't know. It's just so sad. I think, yeah, I wouldn't trust those made in China devices. Okay, I'll take one question, Lei, from Alan Mendel. Lei, have you heard about the rumors about where did that go? The meeting between Xi and Putin next month in San Francisco? So the question is whether or not Xi Jinping will come to San Francisco, right, for the APEC summit. The two sides are obviously negotiating. I mean, if you watched my video last, when was it? Today? Oh, Tuesday. Then I'm surprised that not too many people watched my Tuesday's video. I think it was packed with information. I could have changed the title, the thumbnail to other, and it would still hold because I talked about it was just it's so substantial. But I'm surprised that it does not have as many views. But anyways, the question is, will Xi Jinping come to San Francisco? Here's my thinking. Well, the two sides are negotiating, right? If you watch my video from last Tuesday, then you will know. From this Tuesday, then you will know what are they negotiating about. If Xi Jinping got everything he wanted, I don't think he will come. If Xi Jinping is utterly disappointed, didn't get anything he want, I don't think he will come either. He will come when the negotiation is somewhere in between. That's just my gut feeling, because at this point, he really does not want to travel. He does not want to leave China because that's highly risky for him. Number one is his safety. Number two is when Chinese leader, there were a few incidences where the Chinese leader lost power after returning from an international trip. So if anything, he does not want to leave China. So if he got everything he wanted, he's not coming. If he doesn't get anything, he was utterly disappointed, and he's like, what's the point of me going? So that's just my thinking, but who knows, right? We should be able to tell in a week or so. From Godot, psychological state of fighter pilots seem much better than rocket force and submarine crews. How much better are they? Well, I cannot answer that question yet, but I think that probably is a true observation. But the rocket force is the rocket force. I think they have issues because the rocket force, a lot of them are technocrats. They are educated and there are people who went to college. They have degrees in science and engineering. So these are engineers. They're not military servicemen. So people in Rocket Force have a background of science and technology and engineering. So they don't have that fighter mentality. So these people don't like to, I think I don't think they're really prepared to go to war. Um, right? That's different from people who are pilots. So the Rocket Force is a different group of military services because of the background, the education background of the people in that service. Okay, that's all, and I thank you for joining. That's it. I'll take one last question. And then I'll end it here. Is there a question for me? Oh, here's a John Blank. Like, do you think the Western countries would have been aware of the sub trap? Yes, there is a one of the posts that Sutton Si Sutton mentioned or referenced, the post that was removed that talked about hydrogen sulfide. In that post, what it says that the vessel actually sent a, a, a what do you call that? Um, a, a, a call, a signal for help, but it's an encrypted signal for help. So the vessel did send out a signal for help, and so that post said other foreign vessels in the area must have received the signals, and foreign countries that were monitoring the PLA submarines in the area also must have received the signal. So that post said that those countries got the signal and knew that there's something going on in the Yellow Sea before Xi Jinping was made aware. So there was a signal sent from the vessel asking for help. All right, that's all for tonight, and thank you for joining me. And I'll see you later. Okay, bye bye.